waiting, we ask that you take a brief one-question survey. By completing this voluntary survey, the Arizona Department of Transportation will be able to determine who attends its public meetings and how the department can improve participation. The survey will also help ADOT fulfill federal reporting requirements. You can take the survey using the links or QR codes shown on the screen. We have also placed a link to the self-ID survey in the meeting chat for your convenience, taking the survey before the meeting begins. Bienvenidos y gracias por acompañarnos en esta reunión pública del proyecto de intercambio de tráfico Interestatal 10 y Jackrabbit Trail. La reunión comenzará a la brevedad. Mientras espera, lo invitamos a completar una encuesta voluntaria para ayudar a ADOT a comprender quién asiste a sus reuniones públicas y cómo podrá mejorar la participación. La encuesta se encuentra a través del enlace y código QR que se muestran en la pantalla. También hemos colocado el enlace de la encuesta en el chat. This meeting will be presented in English and interpreted in Spanish through a separate call-in number and online language channel. If you'd like to hear the presentation in Spanish by phone, please call 669-444-9171. The webinar ID is 948-3052-611, followed by the pound sign. If you're online, you can click on the interpretation symbol at the bottom of your screen as shown on the slide to hear the meeting presented simultaneously in Spanish. Esta reunión se presentará en inglés y se interpretará en español. Si desea escuchar la presentación en español, por teléfono, llame al 669-444-9171. El código de la reunión es 948-3052-611. Si está conectado en línea y desea escuchar la presentación en español, puede hacer clic en el símbolo de interpretación en la parte inferior de su pantalla, como se muestra en la presentación. Hello, I'm Nancy Becerra, Community Relations Project Manager with the Arizona Department of Transportation, also known as ADOT. Thank you for joining us to learn about the I-10 Jackrabbit Trail Traffic Interchange Project. Participants joining us are currently muted. I'll describe the meeting format and how to participate in just a moment. But first, if you're having troubles, any technical issues, you may need to hang up or log off, then redial or reconnect. Please note this meeting is being recorded. The recording will be posted to the project website. If you'd like to turn on closed captioning, click closed captioning at the bottom of your screen, and then click live transcript.
It looks like Nancy had some connection issues, so I'll finish what she was going to say. Go ahead and click Live Transcript, then select Show Subtitle. The format for tonight is a short presentation, followed by an open question and answer session. After the presentation, we'll provide instructions on how to ask a question or comment by phone or online. Keep in mind that after this meeting, you can continue to ask questions or provide comments through February 7th, and we'll tell you how at the end of the meeting. ADOT complies with Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, Title II of the Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990, and other related authorities in all of its programs and activities. Any person who believes his or her Title VI or ADA rights have been violated may file a complaint by contacting the ADOT Civil Rights Office at 602-712-8946 or by email at civilrightsoffice@azdot.gov within 80 days of the alleged violation. We will now take a brief pause while this slide is read in the Spanish channel. ADOT will make reasonable accommodations to ensure that individuals with disabilities have an equal opportunity to enjoy ADOT's programs, services, and activities. If you require an accommodation, please contact Nancy Becerra at 623-695-7411 or NGBECERRA at azdot.gov. The Arizona Department of Transportation, in coordination with the Maricopa Association of Governments, known as MAG, and the City of Buckeye, has initiated a project to improve the I-10 Jackrabbit Trail traffic interchange, which is abbreviated as a TI. We are here to provide an overview of the draft recommended alternative, give an update on the schedule, and to get your feedback on the draft project recommendations. ADOT, MAG, and the city understand how beneficial improvements at the I-10 Jackrabbit Trail TI are to the community and traveling public, and have been working to make this project a reality. Now, I would like to introduce our presenter tonight, Taylor Eric, from our consultant, Kimley Horn. Taylor?
Thank you, Randy. This graphic shows the project limits of the I-10 Jackrabbit Trail traffic interchange project, which are along Jackrabbit Trail from south of McDowell Road to north of Van Buren Street, and include the I-10 Jackrabbit Trail traffic interchange. Several other nearby projects are planned that are separate from this ADOT project along Jackrabbit Trail. These other nearby projects are not the focus of today's presentation, but I will summarize them briefly for your information. The City of Buckeye plans to widen McDowell Road to a 6-lane divided roadway, widen Jackrabbit Trail to a 6-lane divided roadway between McDowell Road and Thomas Road, and add signals at Jackrabbit Trail and McDowell Road and at Thomas Road. The City of Buckeye also plans to improve the Jackrabbit Trail and Van Buren Street intersection and add a traffic signal there. Additionally, private developers plan to add a signal at a planned gas station north of Roosevelt Street, as well as construct Roosevelt Street between Jackrabbit Trail and the Costco Shopping Center to the west, including adding a traffic signal at the Jackrabbit Trail and Roosevelt Street intersection. For additional information on the city projects, please contact Jason Harris with the city at 623-204-5312. For additional information on the private developer projects, please contact John Willett with the city at 623-349-6282. Traffic congestion is causing delays and safety concerns in the project limits, especially at the I-10 Jackrabbit Trail traffic interchange. Future growth will make congestion worse without improvements. This project's purpose is to develop improvements that reduce congestion, promote safety, enhance mobility, and improve access. The overarching goals for this project are to improve traffic safety, capacity, and operations in the project limits now and into the future by developing improvements that satisfy the project purpose and need. We are here today to present the draft recommended alternative and seek input from the public. This project is a continuation and update to a previous study evaluated by the Maricopa County Department of Transportation. The project team evaluated two interchange design alternatives: a tight diamond interchange, also known as a TDI, which is the current configuration, as well as a diverging diamond interchange, also known as a DDI, which had been identified as an alternative through the previous McDOT study. Other interchange types were not evaluated because they would have significant adverse impacts on existing facilities and properties near the interchange. Both interchange types were evaluated for future traffic operations and safety, impacts to adjacent properties, and the flood control on the west side of Jackrabbit Trail, as well as the cost to construct. The team evaluated improvements to upgrade the existing tight diamond interchange to provide traffic signals and add more through lanes and turn lanes on Jackrabbit Trail, as well as the I-10 freeway off-ramps to Jackrabbit Trail. A new DDI design, in which traffic shifts to the opposite side of the roadway at the interchange to allow free-flowing left turns onto the freeway, was also evaluated. DDIs were recently constructed at the Miller and Watson Road interchanges with I-10. The team is recommending improving the existing tight diamond interchange rather than converting the interchange to a DDI, since DDIs do not operate properly when in very close proximity to a major intersection, such as McDowell Road in this case. The draft recommended alternative improves the tight diamond alternative, provides better traffic operations at this location, reduces the overall right-of-way impacts, and is less costly than the DDI alternative. The draft recommended alternative was developed in coordination with MAG and the City of Buckeye. The draft recommended alternative is presented in the draft design concept report, which is available for public comment on ADOT's project website. There are a number of different ways to provide comments, which will be discussed later in this presentation. The draft recommended alternative includes the following improvements: adding traffic signals at the interchange to control all traffic movements, providing more turn lanes on Jackrabbit Trail, as well as the I-10 off-ramps to improve traffic flow entering and exiting I-10, widening Jackrabbit Trail to 3 lanes in each direction, and adding a raised median, bike lanes, sidewalk, curb, gutter, and streetlights. As part of the widening, the road will be shifted to the east slightly, approaching the traffic interchange, to avoid the large drainage channel west of Jackrabbit Trail. The draft recommended alternative includes removing and reconstructing the I-10 bridges over Jackrabbit Trail, which will allow for the widening of Jackrabbit Trail to 3 lanes in each direction. The next several slides will show these proposed improvements in more detail. This slide shows the draft recommended improvements at the I-10 Jackrabbit Trail interchange, which is the portion of the project limits shown in yellow in the key map at the bottom right. As was mentioned on the previous slide, the traffic interchange is proposed to be reconstructed to provide 3 lanes in each direction on Jackrabbit Trail, additional turn lanes on Jackrabbit Trail, and the I-10 off-ramps to improve traffic flow off and onto the freeway, traffic signals at the ramp intersections, and new bridges on I-10 over Jackrabbit Trail, which are shown in blue. Jackrabbit Trail will be shifted east to avoid impacts to the existing flood control drainage channel on the west side of Jackrabbit Trail, which is shown in light green. At the northern project limits near McDowell Road, the ADOT project improvements will need to be coordinated with the City of Buckeye's widening projects along McDowell Road and Jackrabbit Trail north of McDowell Road. The city's improvements are expected to be completed prior to the Jackrabbit Trail traffic interchange project. This slide shows the draft recommended improvements along Jackrabbit Trail from south of the I-10 Jackrabbit Trail traffic interchange to Roosevelt Street, which is the portion of the project limits shown in yellow in the key map at the bottom right. Jackrabbit Trail is proposed to be widened to provide 3 lanes in each direction with curb median, bike lanes, sidewalk, curb, gutter, and streetlights. The beginning of the shift in the roadway to the east to avoid the drainage channel can be seen towards the top of the map. Existing driveways will be reconstructed to tie into the widened Jackrabbit Trail. The project's improvements will need to be coordinated with the developer project to add signals at the planned gas station, as well as the developer project at Roosevelt Street, which will add signals and extend Roosevelt Street to the west. This slide shows the draft recommended improvements along Jackrabbit Trail from Roosevelt Street to Fillmore Street, which is the portion of the project limits shown in yellow in the key map at the bottom right. Jackrabbit Trail is proposed to be widened to provide 3 lanes in each direction, with curb median, bike lanes, sidewalk, curb, gutter, and streetlights. Existing driveways will be reconstructed to tie into the widened Jackrabbit Trail. This slide shows the draft recommended improvements along Jackrabbit Trail from south of Fillmore Street to Van Buren Street, which is the portion of the project limits shown in yellow in the key map at the bottom right. Jackrabbit Trail is proposed to be widened to provide 3 lanes in each direction, with curb median, bike lanes, sidewalk, curb, gutter, and streetlights. The project's improvements will need to be coordinated with the city's projects to add a signal at Van Buren Street and improve the intersection. Existing driveways will be reconstructed to tie into the widened Jackrabbit Trail. The following video will provide an aerial overview of the project improvements discussed on the previous slides. The current view is looking south along Jackrabbit Trail from McDowell Road. Over the next minute, you'll see a 360-degree overview of the proposed traffic interchange. The reconstructed traffic interchange will provide 3 through lanes in each direction along Jackrabbit Trail, as well as dual left turn lanes and dedicated right turn lanes from Jackrabbit Trail onto Interstate 10. The Interstate 10 ramps will also be widened to provide additional turn lanes for vehicles entering and exiting Interstate 10. New traffic signals will be installed at the traffic interchange to improve traffic operations. The new bridges will be constructed to span the widened Jackrabbit Trail and protect the existing flood control channel in place. The new bridges will be wider than the existing bridges to accommodate future lane expansions along I-10. We will now take a brief pause as the video does a 360 around the interchange. Now we will drive northbound through the project corridor, starting at Van Buren Street at the south end of the project. As mentioned, Jackrabbit Trail will widen to 3 lanes in each direction with a raised median. New signals with additional turn lanes will be provided at Van Buren Street, Roosevelt Street, and the proposed gas station north of Roosevelt Street. Drainage basins will be installed along the roadway to capture stormwater runoff from the widened roadway. Existing driveway connections will be reconstructed to tie into the widened roadway. New sidewalks and bike lanes will be provided throughout the corridor. As we approach the interchange, the roadway shifts to the east to protect the flood control channel on the west side of Jackrabbit Trail. As shown, McDowell Road is located very close to the I-10 Jackrabbit Trail traffic interchange. These draft recommended improvements will help traffic flow better and safer along Jackrabbit Trail between the closely spaced intersections of I-10 and McDowell Road. The McDowell Road intersection will be improved as part of the City of Buckeye projects noted earlier in the presentation. Acquisition of right-of-way from adjacent properties is needed to widen Jackrabbit Trail, shift the roadway to the east, provide drainage retention basins, and reconstruct driveways to tie into the widened Jackrabbit Trail. It is anticipated that 28 parcels of varying usage types will have right-of-way impacts, with 27 partial right-of-way acquisitions shown in red on the map and one total right-of-way acquisition, shown in green on the map. The next several slides will show the preliminary anticipated right-of-way impacts in more detail. It's important to note that right-of-way impacts shown are still preliminary at this very early stage of the project and are subject to change during final design. This slide shows the preliminary anticipated right-of-way impacts at the I-10 Jackrabbit Trail traffic interchange, which is the portion of the project limits shown in yellow in the key map at the bottom right. Acquisition of right-of-way is needed to widen Jackrabbit Trail, shift Jackrabbit Trail east at the TI, and provide roadway drainage retention basins. This slide shows the preliminary anticipated right-of-way impacts along Jackrabbit Trail from south of I-10 Jackrabbit Trail traffic interchange to Roosevelt Street, which is the portion of the project limits shown in yellow in the key map at the bottom right. Acquisition of right-of-way is needed to widen Jackrabbit Trail, shift Jackrabbit Trail east at the TI, provide roadway drainage retention basins, and reconstruct driveways. This slide shows the preliminary anticipated right-of-way impacts along Jackrabbit Trail from Roosevelt Street to Fillmore Street, which is the portion of the project limits shown in yellow in the key map at the bottom right. Acquisition of right-of-way is needed to widen Jackrabbit Trail, provide drainage retention basins, and reconstruct driveways. This slide shows the preliminary anticipated right-of-way impacts along Jackrabbit Trail from south of Fillmore Street to Van Buren Street, which is the portion of the project limits shown in yellow in the key map at the bottom right. Acquisition of right-of-way is needed to widen Jackrabbit Trail, provide roadway retention basins, and reconstruct driveways. Once the design concept report is finalized and funding for design is in place, the project will move into the final design phase. During the final design, potential right-of-way impacts and access changes that were preliminarily identified will be further refined and finalized. Affected property owners will then be contacted to initiate the right-of-way acquisition process. All acquisitions and relocations will be performed in accordance with the Uniform Relocation Assistance and Real Property Acquisition Act of 1970. If you have questions about the right-of-way process, please contact Stacy McKenzie, ADOT Right-of-Way Project Coordinator at smckenzie@azdot.gov or 602-712-7167. A noise analysis was performed for this project as a part of the environmental analysis, following federal and ADOT regulations and policies. Anticipated noise levels within the project limits warrant consideration of noise abatement measures. No final mitigation recommendations are being made at this time, as proposed noise abatement will be reevaluated in the near future with a new widening project on I-10 between State Route 85 and Citrus Road that includes this project limits. The project team also evaluated a no-build or do-nothing alternative against the recommended build alternative. The no-build alternative represents the existing transportation system with no improvements, except for ongoing maintenance. The no-build alternative provides a base against which social, environmental, and economic impacts of improvement alternatives can be measured for the proposed project. The no-build alternative does not satisfy the project's purpose, need, and goals. The no-build alternative is not recommended for further consideration. This graphic shows the anticipated project schedule. The design concept report study phase of this project began in the fall of 2022. Following the close of our comment period on February 7th, 2024, the project team will review, evaluate, and respond to all comments from the public and stakeholders. ADOT, in coordination with the City of Buckeye and MAG, will then finalize the recommended alternative. The recommended alternative selection process, as well as the input received from the public and stakeholders, will be documented in the final design concept report, which is anticipated to be completed in spring of 2024. If the recommended alternative, as described tonight, is ultimately selected, then the project is expected to move into the design phase in the summer of 2024, with the design and right-of-way acquisition process anticipated to be complete in spring of 2026. I-10 Jackrabbit Trail traffic interchange improvements are recommended in MAG's Regional Transportation Plan, but funding for construction has not yet been identified. Funding for construction is anticipated to become available if Proposition 479, the extension of the regional half-cent sales tax for transportation in Maricopa County, passes in the November 2024 election. Now I'll turn it back over to Nancy to discuss ways you can provide your input.
Now we'll begin the question and comments portion of the meeting. If you're participating in the online meeting, you can submit a written question or comment using the Q&A function. For attendees joining us on the phone, please enter *9 to indicate you would like to speak, and we will receive the hand raise signal. When we are ready for your question or comment, our host will ask you to unmute yourself by pressing *6. If there's similar comments or questions received, we may consolidate them. I'd also like to introduce Olivier Mirza, who'll be answering many of your questions tonight. He is our project manager, along with some other members of the study team.
All right, our first question is, what happens to the Chevron and mobile home sale lot?
The Chevron lot will be a full take based on the initial design that we have. Regarding the mobile lot, that would probably be partial acquisition.
Our next question is, will Jackrabbit be closed during construction?
The intent is to maintain traffic along Jackrabbit and I-10 during construction. However, there may be occasional nightly or weekend closures of Jackrabbit Trail at I-10 for existing bridge removal and erecting the new bridge girders.
The next question is, how long will construction take?
Once the environmental clearance is issued, final design and right-of-way acquisition is completed and construction funds are available, the project will advertise for construction. Right now, the anticipated possible construction date is second quarter of 2026. The project is not currently funded for construction. However, once funded, the construction duration is expected to be 15 to 18 months.
Is Jackrabbit Trail the only remaining unsignalized interchange remaining on the I-10 corridor in Maricopa County?
There are actually some traffic interchanges that are not signalized west of Jackrabbit on I-10.
Is the current study available online for public review?
The current study will be posted online.
Are the 28 right-of-way acquisitions all residential in property?
No, there are businesses such as the Chevron station as well as the mobile.
Is there a contingency plan to move forward with the project, even if the sales tax initiative isn't approved?
Right now, this has not been evaluated. Right now, we are proceeding. We have funds programmed for final design. Once that happens, we will reevaluate. This is part of a regional transportation funding, so it would have to be looked at it on a regional basis as well.
For coordination with adjacent developments, when will proposed right-of-way and basin sizing be finalized or ready to share?
We are currently in the final design, in the final DCR stages. Once the DCR is finalized, we will be moving into final design. Final design will start in 2024, middle of 2024. We expect to have information that would be able to share early 2025.
Will landscape design be coordinated with Buckeye and the city general signage plan, like Verado?
Landscaping and architecture will be coordinated with the city of Buckeye.
Will the city of Buckeye participate and give funds towards the project?
For this particular project, there is no funding participation from the city of Buckeye at the time being, unless there might be some additional design that they might have requests that would be evaluated at that time, and their participation might be needed.
What will happen to the Circle K? You mentioned a planned gas station at Fillmore.
The existing Circle K, we don't know the existing plans for that, but there is a planned gas station for a new Circle K at just south of the interchange.
Please explain why one diamond is favored over the other.
You mean why the tight diamond interchange is favored over the divergent diamond interchange?
I believe that is what the question is, yes.
With that,
So the tight diamond interchange was preferred primarily due to the close proximity to the McDowell Road intersection. When you have a major intersection that close to a DDI interchange, the traffic operations and the signals don't cooperate as well. And so in that case, it was chosen that the TDI would provide better operations for the corridor as a whole.
In the meantime, can we remove the stop signs that were added and only made things worse?
currently, in the meantime, removing the stop signs will make the situation worse. The stop signs were added actually to improve the situation and improve safety temporarily at that intersection until the full reconstruction of the TDI is performed, which will incorporate new signals at the intersection.
This question is from Richard Mortensen, and he asks, I live on Monte Vista, just north of McDowell Road. It has been a superhighway in the past when previous construction was going on. Can we please get speed bumps on Monte Vista Road?
The Monte Vista Road is outside this project limit. That would be a city of Buckeye to consider.
The next question is, so the half-cent sales tax must pass in 2024 to build the project, and what happens if the sales tax does not fund it?
MAG is the one that oversees the regional transportation program funds. At that stage, I would assume MAG will reevaluate the overall program and see which projects will advance and will not advance.
Will the land where the Chevron is being acquired become a drainage basin?
At the current time, there will be some drainage, but there is no plan at this time to finalize the usage of that property.
What can be done to expedite the design to coincide with the construction funding that would become available with the passage of Prop 479? Residents would want to see this completed sooner than 2027.
The final design phase will take about a year to do, and then as well as the right-of-way acquisition process, which will need to be completed. Neither of those can start until the environmental clearance has been completed as well. So there are steps in the process to get us there.
Randy, I would like to put up a note for correction regarding Monte Vista. It's actually in the county and it's under their control. It's not a city of Buckeye property.
Thank you, Olivier. Next question is, how important would it be for a TI and improvements to be built at Dean Road?
As of this time, there are very preliminary studies for Dean Road. There's no project currently planned or study currently planned for that interchange.
For coordination with adjacent developments, when will proposed right-of-way and basin sizing be finalized or ready to share?
That'll be prepared during the final design phase later in 2024, and right-of-way acquisition would likely begin sometime in spring of 2025.
What is the construction phasing schedule?
At this preliminary stage of the study process, the construction phasing has not been finalized. As Olivier mentioned earlier, the intent and anticipated is that traffic would be maintained along Jackrabbit Trail as well as I-10 during construction.
Will the city of Buckeye move forward with the traffic signal at Van Buren and Jackrabbit prior to the traffic interchange at I-10?
As of this time, I believe those projects are slated to move forward before this project goes to construction.
Will construction on Yuma be completed to allow for an additional traffic?
I would defer to the city of Buckeye to answer that question and recommend reaching out to the city regarding Yuma Road.
When Buckeye was named fastest growing city in America, why wasn't infrastructure looked at then? This should have been done several years ago.
There are traffic models and traffic data that gets accumulated, and then MAGS runs projections and plans accordingly. At that time, the traffic data that was accumulated and the projection and the social economical showed otherwise. So that's where we are today, and that's why we are moving right now to do those improvements based on that data.
How effective do you think adding traffic lights at McDowell will be in helping to reduce traffic congestion?
The traffic signals will be coordinated with the Jackrabbit Trail TI and our projections so that it will meet a satisfactory level of service.
It was mentioned tearing down and reconstructing the I-10 bridge. Does that mean that section will be rerouted off the freeway and traffic goes north or south at other on-off ramps in the area, such as Perryville or Verrado?
The current concept is to maintain traffic along I-10. The bridges will be reconstructed in phases, similar to Miller and Watson Road, in which case I-10 traffic would stay on the freeway and the bridges would be built in phases.
Miller and Watson left I-10 severely impacted for 2+ years. Does your plan consider I-10 traffic?
Yes, it does. Understanding that there are high traffic volumes along I-10, to replace the bridges will require some traffic shifts and things like that, but the intent is to maintain the existing lanes throughout construction.
Why does the project stop south of Jackrabbit and McDowell intersection?
At south of McDowell, there's a new project that the city of Buckeye is moving forward for with final design, and it goes from that limit just south of McDowell all the way north to Thomas. It's currently being designed and administered by city of Buckeye. It has a separate funding. The funding for that is mostly from state appropriation funds.
Is the wash to the west of Jackrabbit going to be cleaned up north of I-10?
That wash is under the jurisdiction of the flood control district of Maricopa County, and I would defer to them for that question.
The Chevron has been in the community for 25 years. Why is the family-owned gas station being taken out?
Unfortunately, due to the close proximity to the traffic interchange, the chevron in its current location with existing driveways provides certain safety aspects that need to be considered. And so that's why the project is recommending moving forward with the full acquisition.
Since it will eliminate any access to that property, once we eliminate any access to the property, we would have to acquire it as a full thing.
Will stormwater basins be within drainage easements or within the new right-of-way? If within easement, is there potential for them to be put underground in the future as land is developed?
The drainage basins that would retain any of ADOT's drainage would be within new right-of-way. Any drainage that would retain runoff from City of Buckeye portion of the project would be temporary basins. And I'd defer to the City of Buckeye regarding on-site retention.
Before the project begins, will McDowell Road become a through road from Jackrabbit to Verado?
As of this time, the City of Buckeye does have a planned project to extend McDowell Road to Verado.
Will ADOT project will this ADOT project account for any of the power pole relocations along McDowell, or is that under the city's purview?
Relocations along McDowell Road would fall underneath the City of Buckeye project.
Is Jackrabbit north of the freeway considered for widening and lights?
Correct. Jackrabbit Trail north of McDowell will be constructed as a part of the city project. The improvements with this project will tie into the city's projects that is improving the McDowell Road intersection as well as north of McDowell.
Is there an existing intersection in the valley that looks like the proposed design?
Yes, there are several tight diamond interchanges throughout the valley. The tight diamond interchange is actually the most common TI configuration in the valley.
Can we consider using a standard form of intersection exits and entrances that we have used for decades, like Estrella Parkway? The new forms of intersections like Miller Road are too confusing for new drivers, senior citizens, and unfortunately DWI will be more likely to go the wrong way. It can be very confusing.
The draft recommended alternative is a tight diamond interchange, which is the common type of interchange found throughout the Phoenix metropolitan area.
The governor and others have proposed clawing back the $5 million appropriated for the design phase. What happens if the legislature claws back the design funding?
So the list that of the project that the governor recommended, it's a recommended list for funding withdrawal. That has to go through the state legislature. So for approval, right now we are proceeding with the design as directed into final design. Things can change. If that happens, if the legislative at that time approves all that list and this project is part of that list that gets approved, we will reevaluate at that point for other funding resources for this project.
We have 4 commercial lots at the northwest corner of Van Buren and Jackrabbit. Currently, we are in the site plan design with the City of Buckeye review and approval phase, followed by DRB. Should we continue, or is it possible your design could alter our approval at a later date?
I'd recommend coordinating with the City of Buckeye. The ADOT is coordinating with the City of Buckeye for the improvements on this project and is also communicating any future developments with the design team.
I believe I heard Jackrabbit to Verado is planned. City or ADOT control, and do you have any timing information?
If you're speaking about McDowell Road between Jackrabbit and Verado, I would defer to the City of Buckeye, but they do have currently under design to extend between Jackrabbit Trail and Verado. I believe the construction is soon after design is completed. I'd refer to the City of Buckeye to answer that question.
Olivier, did we want to have John from the
Yes.
city?
Yes, please.
So, good evening, everybody. This is John Wilt, the city of Buckeye. Couple of questions I'll answer. I'll start at the bottom and go up. Jackrabbit, McDowell Road between Jackrabbit and Verado is a city plan project. We are in the design process right now, hoping to have construction start this fall and have at least one lane open in each direction by the spring of 2025. Other than that, there's not much to answer. Regarding Jackrabbit and Van Buren, the commercial lots, please keep moving forward. What the ADOT project will take into account is what would ultimately be planned. And for the city of Buckeye, we require the development to do half street improvements with their project. So whether the development is first, they'll build it first. If ADOT is first, ADOT would build it. And I think regarding the storm drain basins up at along the property, when a development comes in to the city to begin, if the development wants to put the basins in underground, that is still an option, no matter whether it's because of the ADOT putting the water there or whatnot. So I can answer any questions as they come up. So please ask away.
Thank you very much. I'm going to call on Clint Carey, who has his hand raised. Clint, go ahead and unmute your line. All right, you are unmuted. If you are speaking, we cannot hear you. All right, Clint, we'll try again. We have a hand raised by someone named Hicks. Oh, that went away. Clint, go ahead and unmute your line. Let's try again.
You hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
I'm sorry, I didn't press the hand raise button. If I did it by accident.
No problem. Thank you. Okay, and some more questions. Has the final design consultant been selected? If not, when will that be advertised?
The final design consultant has not been selected. This project has the option of retaining the preliminary design consultant to final design. That would be evaluated once the preliminary design is completed. If we would proceed with the preliminary designer to move forward to final design or advertise as an independent advertisement.
Will the current Circle K be demolished and a new one built, or what is going to happen to that Circle K?
As a part of this project, there's only a partial right-of-way acquisition plan for that property. What happens to the rest of that property would be at the discretion of the owner of that property.
When will the Roosevelt Street construction to Verado Way happen?
This
John,
is
if you're
John,
still
the
there.
city. Yeah, I can answer this one. It actually goes with Stephen Giles' question up above. I think they go hand in hand. The extension of Roosevelt from where it ends now past the Ed Key School or the Tut Hill wash alignment all the way to Roosevelt is in the final stages of design. And hopefully that construction will be commenced in the next couple of months and hopefully completed by sometime this fall, depending on the ability for the contractor to move and get all his work done.
John, keeping with that, any timing information regarding right-of-way acquisition north of McDowell?
The city is, they're consulting or working on those plans to dial in the actual limits that are completely needed along the north side of McDowell. I know the process to start acquiring that right away will commence. I mean, I wish I could tell you tomorrow, or maybe not tell you tomorrow. I would presume something in the next couple of months so we have that right away acquired so we can start construction this fall.
I know this isn't about Verado Way, But is there a plan to at least widen those off ramps with all the new businesses and traffic happening? Costco, a mall, hospitals, apartments, and other businesses.
At the current time, there are no projects planned to widen Verado Way.
Yeah, this is John with the city again. I can add a little bit to that. The city's very aware of the congestion that is there and will be coming. We are beginning the conversations with ADOT to see what can be done and how we start the process. It will take, unfortunately, more than a week, hypothetically, to get anything done out there. So that's why we're starting now before it becomes an actual real problem.
Is the city of Buckeye also eventually planning to enlarge Jackrabbit to 3 lanes between Thomas and Indian School?
Yeah, this is John again. Yes, that is ultimately our goal. It is not part of this original project that's under design between McDowell and Thomas, but we do plan to take 3 lanes all the way to Indian School. We're trying to figure out how to do that. And for just to add, if anybody needs to get a hold of me, I know Taylor gave my phone number earlier, and I'll repeat it again, 623-349-6282. And then the email is jwillett@buckeyeaz.gov. And I email me, call me, I will provide answers as best I can or anything you'd like to know about.
Thank you very much, John. I put that information in the chat box as well. The next question is, would all 4 ramps at Jackrabbit go under construction at the same time?
The intent would be to phase construction. Preliminary construction phasing would try to keep the ramps remaining open, but if there were any closures required, they would be phased such that no more than 2 ramps would be closed at any given time.
Why 2025 for McDowell Road from Jackrabbit to Verado Way?
So this is John again. The reason for that is we have to start the design, complete the design, and then start the construction and complete the construction. It's just a timing, how long it takes to get it done. We started this process, I think I would say sometime last fall, and we're wrapping up the design. I'm hoping the question you're asking is why not sooner and why not push it back? So we don't want to push it back. I'm trying to get it done as soon as possible. We know we need it for the Verado residents.
If construction will take up to 4 years, can we replace existing stop signs at I-10 interchange with traffic lights to improve flow?
This is Michael Grandy, traffic engineer at Kimley Horn. ADOT did look at putting signals there temporarily, and it did not. The modeling was showing it actually would operate worse than keeping the stop signs there and create some safety concerns. So that's why it's maintained as stop signs currently.
Are there any current plans available by the city for north of McDowell available to the public?
This is John again. No, they're not available yet to provide out to people.
I know that there's a lot of specific questions for the city of Buckeye, so we encourage all of you with questions for the city to go ahead and reach out to John. And since they're not a part of our ADOT project, which is the focus of tonight's meeting. And again, his contact information is in the chat box. What is proposed for how many lanes will be installed for the Roosevelt improvements west of Jackrabbit?
This is John again. Ultimately, it'll be 2 lanes in each direction. The interim will be 2 eastbound lanes, 1 westbound lane, and a middle median.
And for the public, I would like to clarify the project limits for ADOT is from south of McDowell Road intersection, all the way to north of the Van Buren intersection. All along Jackrabbit Road only, and inclusive of the I-10 TI itself. Anything outside those limits would be the city of Buckeye. Thank you.
If anybody else has any remaining questions about the ADOT project, go ahead and put them in the Q&A box. Once again, if you have any questions about our ADOT project, go ahead and put them in the Q&A box right now. We have a question. Overall project estimated cost.
Right now, we have a very preliminary cost estimate. We are looking at about a total construction cost, including right-of-way, about $90 million.
Do you plan to host any more meetings like this leading into the vote?
We plan to have another public meeting at 60%. 60% design phase.
Okay, I'm going to do another call for questions about the project. All right, we have a raised hand. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
To actually keep the gas station in place with the current construction plans you guys have?
Can you repeat that? The first part of your question got cut off.
Yes, sir. So this is JJ Gurn. I'm the owner of the gas station right there on the corner of Jackrabbit Trails and I-10. And I wanted to know, is there any way of keeping the gas station there instead of it being an acquisition?
Unfortunately, the reason we're mostly acquiring that property is because it will have no more access from direct access from Jackrabbit. If we eliminate any access to that particular property, we will have to acquire it.
That's my only question for now. And you guys will be having another public meeting on this, I take it?
At the final stage, the final design phase, yes.
Final design phase, okay. And who could I contact over at the city of Buckeye or Maricopa County in regards to this acquisition?
So the acquisition of this property will be held by ADOT. The ADOT right-of-way group will be handling the acquisition. The contact name, if you want additional information about the acquisition, would be Stacy McKenzie. We will type in, if you want to write her number, it's 602-712-7167. Email address, if you're ready. It's gonna be S as in Sam, M as in Mary, CKENZI@azdot.gov. That information will be the IE at the end. That information is available on the project website once we upload this presentation. And if you go through the presentation, that information will be provided there as well.
Got it. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. Our next question is, on freeway bridge widening, does that mean basically tearing down the existing safety walls and adding to the center as well?
I assume with the safety wall, they're referring to the guardrail or the barriers. And yes, that would happen at the bridge location. The barrier would be demolished and a new one would be constructed.
Will future meetings be Zoom?
Right now, that would be determined at that stage. What's the best approach to have this meeting, whether it would be virtual or in person, to maximize public attendance?
Since the flood control district canal veers west and goes behind Bingham Equipment and no longer follows Jackrabbit, why is all the right-of-way acquisition being considered only on the east side, which affects residential properties?
The right-of-way acquisition, once the flood control channel moves to the west, is centered on the section line, and there's right-of-way acquisition on both sides of the roadway. As you approach the TI, the intent is to protect the existing channel in place since it's a regional drainage channel. And that's currently the plan.
Just to conclude, nothing will be done to improve the flow at Jackrabbit and I-10 until 2025?
There are no planned improvements to occur prior to construction of this project.
I'm going to call on Family Nelson. Go ahead and unmute your line.
Sorry, that was an accident.
Oh, no problem. Thank you. Okay, we'll do a last call for questions. Okay, with that, I will hand things back to Nancy.
Well, we thank you for your time. Your input is important, and we appreciate you taking the time to learn about the project and provide your feedback. If you haven't taken the one question self-ID survey, we're including the link in the chat again. We will be posting a recording of tonight's meeting on our project website at azdot.gov/I10Jackrabbit. We encourage you to visit the website to learn more about the project, provide your input, and sign up for the project mailing list. As a reminder, comments are being accepted through February 7th in any of the following ways. You can submit written comments online to azdot.gov/I10Jackrabbit via email to me at ngbecerra@azdot.gov, by phone at 623-695-7411, or by mail to ADOT Communications, 1655 West Jackson Street, Phoenix, Arizona, 85007. Thank you.
It looks like we had one more raised hand, so I'll go ahead and call on Barbara to go ahead and close us out. Barbara, go ahead and unmute yourself.
That was an error. I'm sorry.
No, no problem. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining this evening. Olivier Taylor We have another question. Can you confirm that going southbound on Jackrabbit, there will not be left-hand eastward turns into the neighborhood, Fillmore, Taylor, and Melvin because of the raised median?
Yeah, currently that will be evaluated more during final design. Currently, we are proposing to install a raised median, but access to those drives will be evaluated further during final design.
Another one just came in. More and more construction adding up to more traffic. Can you please try to work on something for us?
I'm not sure. The project is planned for construction in 2027.
So I think the question is like there's construction happening around and that's adding traffic to that intersection. As Taylor mentioned before, what we have today is the best we can do as far as stop signs installed at that intersection. We cannot do any lane addition because we are restricted by the flood control district on the channel on the west side of this, along the west side of this project.
Another question just came in where there'll be stoplights put in at Perryville and McDowell to help with this.
This is John with the city. Yes, the development project on the northwest corner and southwest corner of the Perryville McDowell intersection will be putting a traffic signal in at that intersection. I would presume in the next few months. I can't tell you the exact date, but it is planned to go in.
All right, we want to thank everybody for joining us. We're about to getting ready to close up shop. So if you have any last second questions, get them in now. But again, thank you for your attendance this evening. And if you have comments that you'd like to make after this meeting, you can look at our screen right here and see the ways to do it. In addition, you can visit the online survey as well as email, telephone, and mail. Thank you everyone for your attendance tonight and have a great evening.